Chico, Senator Bernie Sanders, I-Vermont, stopped in Paradise and Chico Thursday to see cleanup efforts after the campfire and to discuss climate change in a public town hall. Sanders, a candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020, came to Chico to discuss his platform for action on the climate change issue, but also chose to visit Paradise after being invited by several residents. A traffic advisory was in place by Chico police from 9 a.m. until 2:30 p.m., in anticipation of the political event. Sanders' meeting with residents and the press in Paradise, in a fire-damaged mobile home park, was private. Visiting fire damage, residents in Paradise. Sanders visited Paradise at around 10:45 a.m. In the Holly Hills mobile home park, which was mostly destroyed by the campfire, he talked to several residents of Paradise, before meeting with the press and inviting residents to share their stories and concerns. Filmmaker Alan Myers, 35, who was born and raised in Paradise for 21 years, now lives in Magalia. His family lost their home. "The burning season has been much longer. We need leadership that acknowledges it," he said. "We're homeless," said Cinda Larimer, 53, who lived and delivered papers and pizza in Paradise. Freelance editor and part-time Chico State instructor Susan Dobra is 64 and lived in Paradise for 15 years. She is hesitant about rebuilding her home in the city with her partner. "We're thinking about it," she said. "It's a hard decision, but we would love to. The other guy came here and called our town pleasure, and stood in the middle of the ruins and denied climate change was real. It's real. You can see the effects of it all around you." Dobra said that state legislators must acknowledge climate change as part of the result of the fire. "This is an all-hands-on-deck moment. We have to address climate change, and it has to come from leadership from the top, too. If we don't, this is going to happen again and again," Myers added. Dobra cited research from various scientists for why climate issues like extended periods of high temperatures and drought are worsening and promoting the conditions for more extreme wildfires. Sanders toured the burnt areas of the mobile home park. "If there is any silver lining in this terrible tragedy in this beautiful town, is that I hope the people of the United States and the people of the world understand that we need bold and aggressive action to combat climate change, which is the common enemy, not only for the United States, but for the world," Sanders said. The senator then departed for Chico. Climate change is existential crisis. Meanwhile in Chico, a line to meet Sanders for the town hall had been forming outside of the Masonic Lodge on East Avenue since 8 a.m. The lodge was packed beyond capacity, with many people standing and filling the sides and back of the room. Sanders arrived at about 11:50 p.m. The meeting started just after noon. Audrey Denny opened the meeting and then called a variety of activists to the stage alongside the senator, who began with talking about his visit to destroyed homes in Paradise. "To say the least, it was sobering, it was shocking, it was sad," he said, acknowledging a promise made a while back to residents of Paradise who originally asked him to visit the city in December. "The purpose of being here today is to learn a little bit more about what went on here, but most importantly to make sure that the people of our country understand that President Trump is wrong when he believes that climate change is a hoax," he said. Sanders introduced speakers like Mark Stemmen, who teaches courses in sustainability at Chico State and is part of the Sunrise movement in Chico. Stemmen discussed how evidence of extreme weather in Butte County points to climate change's damaging effects. After the drought between 2014 to 2016 followed by heavy rains in 2017, it didn't rain again for 227 consecutive days, Stemmen said. During the campfire briefings, fire experts claimed that this was the driest vegetation they had ever seen. Chelsea West, a nurse in Paradise for 7 years, said she experienced a frightening evacuation during the campfire. She ended up attending a town hall in Washington, D.C., for another town hall held by Sanders and said it's undeniable that many factors involving climate change led to the campfire. Community concern. Sanders expressed his concern for climate change connected to extreme weather conditions leading to human mortality such as the extreme heat wave in July. The top 10 natural disasters in the United States since 2000, including Hurricanes Katrina, Harvey, Maria and Sandy, caused over $660 billion in damage and over 5,500 deaths, he said. Right here in your beautiful state California, one of the worst droughts in human history was intensified by climate change. Researchers are telling us that if we do not get our act together, California's entire agricultural economy, that feeds much of this country, could be in serious danger. 15 of the 20 largest wildfires in California history have occurred since 2000. Due to the severity of disasters caused by climate change, Sanders repeatedly described it as an existential crisis. Sanders then opened the very crowded floor to questions, with many attendants widely ranging in age. Besides further discussing his ideas for climate change reforms, Sanders answered questions about the Medicare for All proposal and immigration reform, which he said needs to start with stopping demonizing of immigrants, as well as ending racism and the xenophobia which is rampant in this country. The climate debate. Sanders addressed a variety of other topics that are key to his platform, including ending tax breaks for large corporations. However, the senator stayed focused on what is known as the climate debate. Sanders argued that there is too much evidence from scientists for legislators to continue debating whether climate change is a real phenomenon. In a final address to the press, Sanders repeated the key focus of his visit to Butte County and stance on climate change reform. I disagree with Trump on just about everything, he said. I appreciate the efforts being made by the governor and state legislators. But we're going to have to go further. We're going to have to end the powerful special interests that want to maintain the status quo. Sanders is the first presidential candidate in the 2020 election to visit Butte County, after previously being the only presidential candidate to visit Chico during the 2016 presidential election season. Let's block ads. Why?